treating migrants humanely.
Yes.
But there's been reports of them on planes with no water,
That was a bunch of
complaining.
Crap. That was a bunch of crap.
What do you mean a bunch of crap?
ICE detention facilities have the highest detention standards in the industry. Any of the ICE standards, our detention standards are higher than any state or federal or local facility in the nation, in the world. Someone should go to the ICE website, look at PBNDS 11, performance-based detention standards, and look at our detention standards, highest in the industry.
But are you sure you're only getting illegal criminal migrants? I mean, there were some pictures over the weekend of people that claim to be students, Brazilian students, who were showing examples of bruises on their arms from American deportation flights.
That's ridiculous, but if they want to make a complaint, we investigate it.
But your assurance is what?
The men and women at ICE are professionals. We do this for a living. And I can tell you, I ran ICE for years. I was the first director of ICE came up through the ranks. Again, these men and women are professional, highest detention standards in the industry. We take care of these people. But we're going to enforce the law, and we're not going to apologize for doing it. And
you're going to do it in a sort of public way with, do you need to use the big military planes? Is that part of a sort of shock and awe tactic? No. They haven't been used before, have they, for migrants?
No, we got President Trump. We're going to use all the government to secure our border, which is the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen. And we're going to enforce laws to this country. It's not okay to enter this country illegally. It's a crime. And when you cause a crisis as big as the Biden administration caused, when you overwhelm the Border Patrol, but they can't do their national security job, that's when the fentanyl come across, kill 250,000 Americans. That's when you have a 600% increase in sex trafficking. That's when you have a record number of no-inspected terrorists coming across an open border. President Trump's going to secure the border as promised to the American people. We're going to enforce immigration laws. That's what we're going to do, without apology. We're on board. We're going to go forward. You're going to see it get a hell of a lot bigger in the near future.
Do you need to use big military planes? I mean, really? These big military planes? Can't you use small, little tiny planes? Wouldn't that be better? You know, I got to be honest. I don't know how long the legacy media is going to go on with these Wile E. Coyote annex, where every time they chase after Trump, the Roadrunner, every time they try to, take members of the Trump administration out, they only end up blowing themselves up. I mean, it's absolutely hilarious. Are you going to keep using big military planes? I mean, every time the legacy media thinks one of their cleverly devised schemes is going to finally catch the Trump administration and bring them down, they only end up being exposed for how utterly stupid they actually are. Case in point, here is CNN's ultra-repulsive Caitlin Collins. Remember Trump? You're a nasty person. Oh, you're nasty. This is Caitlin Collins doing the exact same thing with the exact same result. Check it out.
From immigration advocates is that this is going to provide a chilling effect to parents in the school drop-off line or something of that matter.
It shouldn't be a chilling effect unless your child's a terrorist or a public safety threat. If they are a public safety threat and national security threat, they should be chilled. They should be afraid because we're looking for them.
Well, if their parent is here and they're an undocumented immigrant, I think was more of the argument that they were making.
They're not off the table either. I mean, they're in the country illegally, they got a problem. I mean, it's not okay. Look, it's not okay to enter this country illegally. It's a crime. And that's the way it's supposed to be. I wouldn't feel comfortable if I'm in Switzerland illegally. So we're going to enforce the laws of this country. So, the schools and the churches and central location was a policy only for ICE, only for immigration, right? But national security threats and public safety threats have no safe haven in this country, and we'll go where we got to go.
Hey, gang, we look out for each other here on this channel, and your health is our #1 priority. So if you're one of the 100 million Americans struggling with all the weight gain and loss of energy that comes with a fatty liver, you've got to try Liver Health Formula. It's an all-natural supplement. It contains 12 clinically proven botanicals that help recharge and protect your liver. It's manufactured right here in the USA, and it's approved by independent American doctors. And if you click on that link below right now, you can try Liver Health Formula and receive a free bottle of blood sugar formula when you order today. So don't let a fatty liver keep you sluggish and inactive. Click on that link below right now or go to getliverhelp.com/Turley and claim your free bonus gift. That's getliverhelp.com/Turley. Again, I want you to fully realize what's happening here. Isn't it fascinating that the legacy media, they're not just defending lawbreakers. They're not just actually defending illegal migrants, undocumented workers, immigration advocates. Isn't it fascinating that the legacy media never, ever, even once came close to engaging in these kinds of antics with the bumbling Biden administration? Can you recall the media at any point ever challenging Biden on the hallmark of his agenda, the Build Back Better agenda, which was just a scam? It was a grab bag, a piggy bank for left-wing special interest groups like the Green New Deal crowd. Can you recall a single time when Caitlin Collins pushed back against the Biden administration for enacting their agenda? Of course not. They were cheerleaders for the Biden regime. Everything he did was celebrated as the single greatest political act in our nation's history. I mean, take, for example, the way the legacy media literally slobbered over Biden's original refusal to pardon his son, Hunter. Now, rather than greet that claim with a healthy dose of skepticism that it deserved, rather than claim, yeah, well, Joe, we'll believe it when we see it, come noon on January 20th. If you haven't done it, okay, great, we'll give you credit. Instead of that, they exploited his claim that he would not pardon Hunter. They exploited that in a way so as to hammer Trump. Take a look at this montage.
Potential promise to put the law before a family.
I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Letting the world know that he will not wipe away the decision of 12 of his son's peers.
Was asked directly, and he has said he wouldn't pardon his son if he gets convicted.
Let's wait and see what happens if he loses.
Yeah, but he said it.
He's going to get pardoned by his dad. There's no question about that.
The president has ruled out pardoning his son.
Major commitment from the president, accepting the outcome of the trial and also pledging not to pardon his son.
So the challenge for him is really to continue to live up to his values when it was really personal, and he did that today.
It seems like a pretty normal, straightforward answer, but it takes new weight when we see what Trump is saying about the outcome of his trial, what we're hearing from other Republicans who say they don't accept the jury's verdict here in New York.
The contrast is profound. To sit there and say, well, I'm not going to intervene in the legal process, and I wouldn't pardon my son. One side, Democrats and Joe Biden protecting the justice system. And on the other, Republicans and Trump protecting Trump.
Our current president of the United States has so much respect for the law that he has said he would not pardon his son. I mean, what, again, it's all about the contrast.
President Biden saying, I will respect whatever this jury decides, versus Donald Trump after he was convicted on 34 counts, saying the entire system is rigged against him.
You see, gang, that's not a free and independent press. That's not a media interested in reporting news. That is a sold out corporate industry that does the bidding of the establishment. I've said it this way. The legacy media doesn't speak truth to power. Rather, they speak the power's truth. They don't speak truth to power. They speak the power's truth. What you just saw there, every single word uttered in that montage, which, by the way, goes on for over 9 minutes. I just gave you a little clip there. We have over 9 minutes of example after example after example after example of the legacy media fawning over Biden, claiming he was not going to pardon Hunter, and using that as an opportunity to rip into Trump. 9 minutes of it. Everything you heard there turned out to be a total and complete lie. It wasn't just not true. It wasn't just factually wrong. It was an out and out lie. It's not simply that Biden did end up pardoning Hunter. That's bad enough. It's the fact that the legacy media deliberately framed that whole issue of Biden's supposed refusal to pardon his son, which was just a claim. At least Chris Wallace was skeptical enough to say, well, let's see what happens if he loses. We'll take a look. It's easy to say this when you think you might win, but let's see if he ends up losing this election. And everyone's like, oh, no, but he said it. But he said it. This is a constant pattern among Democrats. I'm sorry, among the legacy media. Whatever Democrats say, whatever the Biden administration said is by definition true. It's by definition trustworthy. It's by definition gold. Whatever Trump says is BS. That's how they call that facts, right? This goes beyond simply the issue of Biden ending up pardoning Hunter. It's the fact that the legacy media deliberately framed the whole issue of Biden's supposed refusal to pardon his son in such a way that artificially advantaged Biden, the Democrats, as moral and upright, the defenders of democracy, and disadvantaged Trump and the Republicans as the enemies of democracy. That was all, every bit of it. It was a lie. That's why we call them the Democrat media. They are the propaganda wing of the DNC. It's why they will always defend the Democrats and never, ever push back on any Democrat policy whatsoever in the way that they're attempting to push back on Trump here with the mass deportations of illegals, people who are not supposed to be here in the first place and who have criminal records. And the irony is that all of this pushback, all it's doing in the end is just blowing up in the legacy media's face. Think about what the media's been reduced to. They are now, along with the Democrats, openly defending lawbreakers. And of course, selectively defending lawbreakers. If you're here illegally, even if you're a violent criminal, you should be treated like a hero. You can go to school and they're not supposed to come near your school. But if you're a J6er, you should die in prison. It's called anarcho-tyranny. There are some groups in this caste-like system that are above the law, and then there are other groups who are going to be legalistically persecuted. Anarcho-tyranny. And the legacy media is the most disgusting purveyor of anarcho-tyranny. And again, they don't seem to get it. It's all just blowing up in their face. A New York Times Ipsos poll that came out in early January found that 88% of voters, again, keep in mind, New York Times poll, 88% of voters supported deporting illegal migrants with criminal records. 88%. Again, I don't know what's wrong with that other 12%. I don't care. Because 9 out of 10 people supporting a political issue is that's as popular a political issue that you're going to get. So if the legacy media wants to try to push back against policies 9 in 10 voters support, don't be surprised if 90% of the country decides to turn you off, which of course is exactly what is happening. Now, you may have seen this, but this week, CNN, the most distrusted name in fake news, the cable news outlet of Caitlin Collins, is laying off hundreds of workers. And this, of course, is coming on the heels of reports that CNN lost an astounding 90% of its audience since its height back in 2021, the beginning of the era of Biden, the Build Back Better era. It's so fascinating. It looks like Biden didn't just bring down the Democrat Party. He brought down the legacy media in his implosion as well. 90% of their audience is gone. And so here come the layoffs, the mass layoffs. And one figure in particular appears to be a rather prominent victim in all of this. Take a look.
For a good time. to bow down to a tyrant. I've always believed it's the job of the press to hold power to account. I've always tried to do that here at CNN, and I plan on doing all of that in the future. One final message. Don't give in to the lies. Don't give in to the fear. Hold on to the truth and to hope. Even if you have to get out your phone, record that message. I will not give in to the lies. I will not give in to the fear. Post it on your social media so people can hear from you too. I'll have more to say about my plans in the coming days, but until then, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. It has been an honor to be welcomed into your home for all these years. That's the news. Reporting from Washington, I'm Jim Acosta.
That is the utterly insufferable Jim Acosta, what I often refer to as Jim Acosta, rage quitting on live TV because they consigned him to the graveyard post of on CNN. I want you to appreciate, by the way, just how narcissistic this guy is. He actually believed in that farewell he gave. He actually believed that viewers were going to take out their phones in mass and start a social trend because of his whiny exit from CNN. I will not give in to the lies. I will not give in to the fear. And he thought they were going to post that in mass on social media. Well, needless to say, nothing like that even came close to happening. There's no trend anywhere on social media for, I will not give in to the lies. Literally nobody cares what this guy has to say. Nobody. It's so hilarious. We've talked about this before, but did you know that CNN viewership actually dropped every time Jim Acosta was on air by like 30%? Did you know? I mean, this is so hilarious. Fox News did a story on this a few years back when CNN averaged about 1.1 million viewers on Saturdays, which they would kill to have right now because their ratings have plunged, as you saw, by 90% since then. But Fox's report found that whenever Acosta's program came on those Saturdays, that number dropped, the ratings dropped by 30%. He barely got 700,000 viewers. So CNN actually lost what little audience they had whenever Acosta showed his smug little face on screen. So it's no wonder that CNN is this week. Again, just the irony is so beautiful. CNN is laying off hundreds of workers all at the beginning of the golden era, the start of Trump. And these layoffs are coming as CNN is absolutely struggling with their ratings, basically running on fumes at this point with whatever little money they're getting in their cable subscription. They're a disaster in the key demographic for advertisers, the 18 to 34 demographic. I mean, disaster, frankly, doesn't even begin to describe it. And so it looks like Acosta was one of the victims of these layoffs. He may have chosen to go his own way, but regardless, President Trump couldn't help but celebrate the news. This is what he said after he heard that CNN was basically sidelining Acosta. Wow. Really good news. Jim Acosta, one of the worst and most dishonest reporters in journalistic history, a major sleazebag, has been relegated by CNN fake news to the midnight hour, Death Valley, because of extraordinarily bad ratings and, of course, no talent. Word is that he wants to quit, and that would be even better. Jim is a major loser and will fail no matter where he ends up. Good luck, Jim. And he's absolutely right. He's again, this is before this is when he was relegated to the midnight hours. This is before he actually quit. But he's right. Acosta has little talent. He's always made the story about himself. He's a performative reporter. He was a blithering narcissist to the very end. And like all narcissists, he repeatedly lied. He repeatedly reported fake news. He didn't report news. He reported narrative. And he simply will not be missed. He can go the way of Don Lemon and be lost in the realm of obscurity where he belongs. So once again, it all just keeps blowing up in their faces. And to me, that's the key to understanding, at least in part, how we're actually entering into a new age, what scholars are calling a post-liberal, post-globalist age of nationalism, populism, traditionalism, what's often referred to as civilizationalist populism. I mean, the key for me that this transition is really happening is a very clear dynamic where the more the legacy media vilified Trump since 2020, the more popular he got. And that's so key to understanding, I think, this dynamic of transition. If you think about it, the legacy media and their 24/7 obsession with Trump, they cheerled every single assault against him. The special counsels during his first tenure, the 2 impeachments, the J6 Kangaroo Committee, where every single member had previously voted to impeach him, the FBI raid on his home, the 4 federal indictments, the dozens of felony charges, the lawsuits, the convictions on all counts, and then the absolute height of outrage and absurdity. The legacy media even went so far as to blame Trump for the second assassination attempt on his life. I mean, that says it all. If the legacy media is going to blame you when somebody tries to kill you, I mean, there's no, I mean, dialogue is not possible here. You can't even imagine a scenario where the legacy media would be blaming a Democrat for being responsible for an attempt on their life. So the legacy media has been cheering all of this on for 4 years straight, 24/7. And what's the result? All it did was make Trump more popular than ever. You can't get around that calculus. After a 4-year-long 24/7 barrage of negative press against Trump, Trump today is more popular than he has ever been. That is an unmistakable sign that the era of the legacy media is finally over, and a new rising MAGA era has officially begun.